victory. NC State will have the opening serve. Naomi Cabello back to serve for the Wolfpack. Klicka up to Fairbanks and across. And a misfire there for NC State gives Pitt the opening point of the match.
Yeah, and a key misfire. Trying to go high hands against this very athletic block, just missing a little bit long. And no unforced errors is going to be a key factor in tonight's match, as Pitt only had 3 in Friday's match against Wake Forest, hitting at .385, but 3 unforced hitting errors is extremely efficient.
Pitt, the best team in the country in terms of hitting percentage. Valeria Vasquez-Gomez serves strong. And our first look at Sydney Daniels, the junior out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And you need to try to serve tough against this Pitt side, and we've seen NC State trying to do that early on.
Yeah, the one thing that you have to guard against if you're going to play with the top teams in the country is riding that line between unforced errors and staying assertive.
First look at Kat Flood, the graduate out of Wilmette, Illinois. Short serve. Cabello kept alive by Fairbanks. The swing on the outside from Babcock, who delivers her first kill of the afternoon.
And boy, that's a little deflating for the Wolfpack, because Rice just unloads cross court to Fairbanks, which is a good swing. It gets them out of system, but then you've got to contend with Babcock in those out of system swings, and that's a tall task.
Babcock hitting .330 on the season from the opposite position, and it's an ace for Flood as Pitt gets off to a strong start this afternoon.
Early on, Pitt is winning the serve pass battle. A couple of service errors from the Wolfpack.
Career high 22 service aces this year for Kat Flood. Cabello runs it to the outside. A swing there from Bryant. First look at Stafford, off the block. Turned over, Amanda Rice delivers the kill.
And that is going to be the recipe for success for the Wolfpack today. If they can defend that first swing opportunity of Pitt and extend rallies to transition score, especially when you've got Amanda Rice front row, that can be something that'll work in their favor.
Rice playing some of the best volleyball of her season here late in the year. Fairbanks again, Stafford bounces it on the 10-foot line. Look at the vertical, coach.
Oh my gosh, just a tremendous athleticism. You look at the fast step close, the shoulder load. If there's any kind of a seam, she's gonna exploit it. She does right there. Yeah, just a tough deflection off the block there. Made it really difficult for Peterson to try to make a play on that ball. But again, the prowess of Babcock, she's hitting angles that a lot of teams don't see night in and night out.
Coming in just under 6 points per set, the average on the season. She's 4th in the country in that department. Peterson again outside. Brizard sent it over. And NC State's having some success on the outside, coach.
Yeah, and again, it's the shot selection. Choosing to go line, choosing to go at Babcock defensively and try to wear her down a little bit. If she doesn't dig a great ball, they're automatically out of system, which again feeds into your hands.
1-point match here early on as Jada Allen serves. Babcock off the block, second try for Vasquez-Gomez.
Sometimes you're in the right spot at the right time, Noah, and I'm sure she will kind of all smiles on that pseudo assist off the block.
Hoping that the food on my Thanksgiving table comes to me as easily as that feast did, right?
For sure.
Rachel Fairbanks back to serve. Here's Williams. Stafford out of the back row. Bryant right into the block. Williams sent it over. Tight pass to the net. Brizard tools it.
And a great way to end that point by staying assertive. Williams was a little bit tip happy early in that rally, and I was wondering when they were going to get a full swing to stay assertive against Pitt. And one thing to take note of, Williams was tipping, but she was tipping smartly to Babcock, who's the off blocker there in right front, making it difficult for her to transition swing. So again, the shots that NC State are hitting are very designed and very smart right now.
Fine line to walk with those tips because you don't want to give this Pitt side in-system swings.
That's exactly right. You have to be strategic if you're going to go off speed. And I think trying to go at Babcock in that off blocker position is a wise move.
Valeria Vasquez Gomez, second time at the service line. Off the tape, long run for Cabello. Out for Brizard, into the block, punched up. Rice down the line, goes wide.
Just missing the line shot, and it is there. She doesn't need much of a window, Noah, but the athleticism in the block. Watch Stafford, fast step, close, and reach. Just cut the ball a little bit wide, but that alley is there. I think she'll go for it again next opportunity.
3-point edge for the Panthers. Cabello pushes it to the outside. Brizard having a great start to the afternoon. 3 kills on 5 swings.
Yeah, and you look at how she's scoring, challenging the block. We love the swagger. We love the athleticism that she brings. But if you're the block of Pitt, you have to start to make an adjustment now, realizing she's going out there, that outside hand.
Coaching staff telling us that Brizard, no one on this team loves NC State more than her. First in the gym, last to leave. Wow! Bree Kelly demolished that quick in the middle.
Oh my gosh. Put yourself in the shoes of Lily Cropper, the middle for NC State, on a perfect pass. Where do you go? You have to keep your ground, and if you do that, you're going to be late. If you commit block to the middle, then you're late, get to the outside. Really tough position for the opposing middle there.
I just wouldn't put myself in her shoes. I wouldn't want to be in front of that.
That's fair.
Good serve from Flood. Cabello, outside, Bryant. Off the hands of the block for the kill. NC State setters doing a good job at distribution.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good tempo because the hitter can dictate the shot that they're going to hit. That time, Brian going low off the block, which is usually a little bit lower percentage, but realizing that the block wasn't quite there yet.
Good serve from Stokes. Fairbanks, Stafford, and an easy one for number 4 in white.
Boy, we talk about getting in players' shoes. What about being in Sky Stokes right there? How often do you see a hitter go over Rice in front of you? That's just a high-level swing, something you don't see very often.
Pitt hitting 357 in the early stages. Babcock's big serve. Bryant tips. Stafford there. Fairbanks. Here's Babcock out of the back row and delivers the kill. She is a stat stuffer.
100%. She does it all. If Pitt is ever in a tight spot or the set score's close, maybe the other team's getting on a little mini run, she's a great equalizer. She's a 6-rotation player. You can set her anywhere on the court, and she can deliver. 59
service aces for Babcock. It's a Pitt record. And that's the fine line you walk with a big top spin off the tape. And a service error gives it back to the Wolfpack.
Normally in a 2-hitter rotation, Fairbanks the setter for Pitt's front row right now, you think you have an advantage, but with Babcock still in the back row, she's acting as that third attacker, and she's a real threat. So it's going to be interesting to see how NC State defends these 2-hitter rotations by Pitt.
An ace for Amanda Rice, and t-shirts flying here inside Reynolds Coliseum.
Good ball.
Overpass. Cabello on the slide, and Allen finds the playing surface.
And those are the opportunities we're talking about, Noah, that NC State has to convert if they want to be victorious today. You're not going to get many of them from this Pitt Panther team, so when you do, you've got to make sure you convert them.
Cabello did a good job of holding that block. Back row for Babcock.
Yep, over the line.
Back row player cannot swing or cannot land before that ball touches the playing surface on the other side of the 10-foot line. And we will have our first break here.
Yep, watch her plant foot right there. If any part of her foot is on or in front of the line, that's an illegal back row attack.
A tight match here early on, 13 apiece on the final weekend of the ACC regular season.
This is ACC basketball. Year in and year out, Extraordinary athletes dominate the game and go on to shine in the pros with the most NCAA tournament wins and the most NBA draft picks ever. Each season, we continue to build on our unrivaled history of success. This is the premier conference in college basketball. This is the ACC. A conference.
13 apiece here in set one, and NC State's done a good job of mixing up their shots, and against this vaunted Pitt defense, they needed to.
Yeah, and when you're facing a team like Pitt, it's about going at really strategic places, either at the block, around the block. But I love the assertiveness going at the hands and challenging the block early.
Jones sends it strong. They wanted a touch, none called. And Dan Fisher thinking about going to the challenge card here early. Having a conversation with the down official.
Yeah, he's talking with his players, seeing if they are firm and that they had a touch on that play.
Trying to get some clarification. There is Dan Fisher. Here's a look.
Yeah, that, ooh.
Was it in?
Yeah, I think that is more the question. The ball clearly went over the block. I did not see a touch at the net at all. I think that is pretty clear. But yeah, on that replay, Noah, it looked like that ball was well inside the line.
And Dan Fisher did indeed choose to go to the challenge card. So the call on the court is a ball out off the hands of Ryla Jones. Crew gonna show us another look. Watch that back line, does it touch it?
That is closer than what the first replay showed us. On that one, I think you have more of a case. But we need to remind fans that when the ball hits the floor, the ball compresses, and if any part of the ball touches any part of the line, it's considered in. And to overturn this call, there has to be undisputable evidence that you saw the ball touch part of the line. There's absolutely no red between the ball and the white of the line.
And that's why that call on the court of out so important here. Sometimes the shadows can play with your eyes as well. Here's a final look.
Yeah, not a great set from Fairbanks as she was going to the ground, but Babcock kind of patted her chest. It's my fault, guys. She was off balance on that swing.
Vasquez Gomez gets it back. Big swing kept up. Now Bryant out of the pipe, right into the block. And a free ball from Stokes. Fairbanks, Jones, too easy.
It is just so fast when you're dealing with this kind of athleticism that Pitt brings to the table. If you're blocking and they have their middle in system, all three hitters are in play right here. If you're Jada Allen, you have to almost commit block to have a chance of stopping that, and it's still one-on-one.
Feels like it's a helpless feeling at that point.
For sure.
Peterson ran it to the middle for Allen. It'll be a free ball. Stokes, Peterson, Williams, wide.
Yeah, and those are those opportunities again, Noah, that NC State really needs to convert them. They're not going to have very many, we anticipate, this afternoon. Again, trying to go line, it's just a little bit wide. Reminiscent of the earlier swing from Rice.
Out of system. Brizard, stuffed.
At that time, the set from Allen got a little bit wide, and Brizard had to make an adjustment. When you're hitting outside of the court, you can only go back in, and that feeds right near the block. Yeah, you see her just jump off balance a little bit, trying to get outside to that ball that was set a little bit wide. And if you're an outside hitter, that's just more of a difficult spot to be in.
Timeout for NC State, and for Pitt, an early advantage here. #1 team in the country this season for the first time in program history. Coming into today, 26-1, Coach. This is a resume that screams regional host, and if they take care of business over the next 3 games, they will have that indeed.
Yeah, and they've earned it. When you look at how they've point scored, the statistics, the way that they play the style, it's so fast and it's so precise. They force opponents to play at a higher level than they're used to, save, possibly Louisville or a couple of other programs, but that's the challenge that NC State faces and the other opponents for the rest of the season here. If you're going to match Pitt, you have to play at the highest level that you've played at and sustain it for 3 or more sets. That's very difficult to do.
Yeah, I think that's the key right there. Sustaining it over an entire match is what a lot of teams have not been able to do against Pitt.
Exactly. And that's a testament to not only their recruiting, the athletes they have in their program, but their training. There are a lot of talented players in the upper echelon of college volleyball. But how do you work together? How do you train? What's your focus day in and day out so that you can play at this level and sustain it? That's an edge that Pitt has. Most other teams don't.
The precision with which they practice, trying to get better, those micro adjustments. Allen looking for hands, couldn't find any. And Pitt's built a 3-point edge here in set 1. And if you're NC State, you want to be careful here to not let this snowball on you.
Yeah, it goes back to those unforced errors. We saw a couple of unforced serving errors early, but think about Rice hitting wide down the line, Williams hitting wide down the line, Allen hitting long there. That's only 3 points, right? But look at the score. That is the difference in the set, are those unforced hitting errors.
A mistake there, and Allen deposits it. It goes unnoticed, but that play by Brizard out of system kept that rally alive.
Yeah, great hustle play by her, great awareness. We talk about high volleyball IQ of the players in this kind of a match, and we're seeing it.
So Jada Allen now back behind the service line after ending the 4-0 Pitt run. NC State within 2.
Great pass.
In system, Kelly. And Pitt one away from being to 20.
And offensively, Noah, that is more balance that we're seeing from Pitt. Yes, Babcock is going to get her opportunities, and same with Stafford, same with Vasquez Gomez, but we're also seeing the middles for Pitt being involved, where we haven't really seen much middle play for NC State so far.
Yeah, just 5 swings now out of the middle for Pitt. Pushed over. Fairbanks looking outside. Vasquez Gomez off the block and kept alive. Stokes will look for Brizard out of system. Here's Babcock.
Oh, wow.
And Bryant unable to pancake that one.
Such a heavy ball, and you look at the elevation, how high the contact point is for Babcock, that she can hit almost any angle on the court. And so if you're a defender, you have to be stopped, you have to be disciplined, and even then, Noah, you might not be able to make the play.
It seems like you've got to make split-second decisions when she's at the net.
Yeah, you have to read it off of her hands, and it's coming on you in a hurry. Not only with speed, but also with pace. It's a heavy ball, so if it does hit you, you got to be careful it doesn't blow up your platform. It's not just about getting a touch, but getting a dig that you can transition, and that's really tough against this hitter.
Pitt leading by 4, and they've got Olivia Babcock off to a hot start. 4 kills, a couple of digs, continuing to stump the stat sheet here this afternoon.
Yeah, and she's come as advertised. We knew the resume coming in. We knew what she was capable of, and so far she's delivered. Maybe one bad unforced error, but still, just the steady Eddie. You know that if you give her a ball that's hittable in her wheelhouse, that she can convert.
Hey, you'll allow the unforced error, right? It doesn't happen that often for her.
She's earned a little bit of leash there. That's 100%.
One of the most efficient opposites in the country. Came into today 330 average, a little bit below that here early on, but still very successful. And Rachel Fairbanks will serve as we return to action. Pitt's won 21 consecutive sets here in the month of November. This has been a freight train that you've not wanted to get in front of for most of the month. Fairbanks returning to the lineup after not playing against Wake Forest. We're told that was a coach's decision. Peterson, Brizard tried to get to it with the right hand.
Tight set.
Williams, and again a miss down the line. They're giving them the line, but NC State just hasn't been able to find it.
Yeah, a couple of those errors have been a little bit of set location, but mostly the hitters just being a little bit off balance, over-rotating. That's a technique thing that I'm sure they'll address in their next timeout.
Pitt on a 3-0 run, and Fairbanks continues to serve, but goes into the net.
The good news for NC State is that really the point spread, we talked about those unforced attacking errors, that's something they can control. So regardless of how this set ends up, I think the Wolfpack can go in to the break thinking, hey, we can play a little bit better, we can be cleaner, and that'll be a big difference.
They've gained a little bit of confidence this weekend after the strong game against SMU as Babcock delivers kill number 5. That vertical is so impressive.
It is. You know, she probably could have been stellar in almost any sport with that kind of athleticism, but the length, the burst, look at her off the ground. I mean, the block can barely get there, and that was an out-of-system play. So impressive.
Brizard will get it back and misfires. Was looking for hands. And Pitt continuing to build on their edge as they look to take the opening set.
Yeah, that ball is just in a different location than what Brizard has scored with before. When you're 5, 6, 7 feet off the net, you have to adjust your shot.
Vasquez Gomez continues to serve. Cabello. And a kill for Rice.
So far, NC State has had more success with a little bit quicker tempo to their pins. If they can get a little bit of a lower ball, like right there, get Amanda Rice in rhythm, get her approaching to the ball with no hesitation, that's when she's at her best.
What's leading to that success?
Again, I think it's the setting tempo. If you go super high tempo, you're feeding into the block of Pitt. If you want to get some seams, you want to get more variety from your attackers, let's set a little bit lower tempo right there.
Kelly will send it over the tip into the center of the campfire, and Pitt will have set point here in set 1.
Yeah, that's one that NC State definitely wants back. It was kind of a bang-bang play, but anytime your opponent scores on an out-of-system tip to the middle of the floor, that's deflating.
Second libero, Kat Flood, back in to serve. Set point here for Pitt.
Good ball.
Cabello. Bryant denied, and Pitt has won 22 consecutive sets. Pitt wins by 7. NC State made it close, but the
play is just going to win the day every time.
So to the second set we go. Pitt leads 1-0. They've won 22 straight sets in the month of November. This is Rachel Fairbanks. And not the best start for Pitt here in set 2.
No, we would call that a bad miss in our gym. You know, you want to stay assertive, but if you're top of the tape, you know, 6 inches in or out, keep swinging. If you go middle of the net, that's just either a poor contact or poor toss. We'll see. I'm sure she'll get a better opportunity next time.
Fairbanks got the night off against Wake Forest on Friday night as they try to manage her load. She plays a heavy load for this team. Here's Vasquez Gomez, kept up by Stokes, the overpass, and Kelly was waiting for it.
And if I'm Sky Stokes, I might make a little adjustment when Pitt is in system. I think I might play more up in the court, kind of in that middle third, because that's where most of the balls are hitting.
Try to take away that dump pass.
Exactly, and it's so difficult with the pace to try to sprawl forward under these balls with control.
Out of system, they go to Rice, off the block in the hands of Bryant. And another block for Pitt here as they build an early edge.
Got great adjustment on the block of Pitt because NC State was having success early tooling the block from both pins, and the last 3 or 4 opportunities at the end of set 1 and now here in set 2, you're seeing stuff blocks and denies.
3 blocks in the early going, and now an ace for Vasquez Gomez. 34th of the season for one of the veterans on this team. She's been with this program since 2019. She came back. Again, we go back to the goal of winning a national title. That's why she's back in this gym.
Yeah, players understand when they're a part of something special. And this Pitt team could be something very special this year.
A service error there.
And prior to that error, Noah, I was going to mention that I think Sydney Daniels for NC State needs to take more court and serve receive. Sky Stokes is an excellent serve receiver, but right now in this match, Daniels is passing close to a 3.0. I think she needs to handle more balls in serve receive.
Pitt out of system. Stafford into the block. Now Babcock swings, and Stokes can't keep it off the floor.
She is hitting at such a high angle, going over Bryant. First the coverage right there by Klicka, and then the transition out of system swing. Look at the step close, but just hitting over the block of Bryant with pace.
And to your point, Stokes being asked to cover a lot of the court there.
Yep.
Long run, out for Bryant, tight angle. Stafford goes looking for Babcock. Cabello, Bryant, off the block, kept up by Daniels, and it'll be a free ball. And Pitt just keeps coming as Ryla Jones delivers another kill.
How about that set from Fairbanks? It was a low dig from Vasquez Gomez off the free ball. She is running away from the court, or running away from the net, spins her hips into positions, delivers a ball, gets the assist. Great stuff from number 10.
This Pitt offense can feel a little bit like the ocean. The waves just keep coming.
Exactly.
This is Rice. Fairbanks looking outside, kept alive. Fairbanks to Jones.
Good touch by Allen.
The down ball comes for Amanda Rice. Block was there, she went off hands. Babcock, Stokes spun around but kept it in play. Fairbanks, here's Jones. Stokes did everything she could, what a rally. Sent over by Allen. Pitt trying to end it, Jones does.
Oh.
Fourth kill of the afternoon for Ryla Jones.
Boy, NC State is having to work so hard in these long rallies. You're seeing positive touches off the block. That's something your defense desperately needs against this Pitt team. But to have it end with just a transition swing in the middle tells you that the ball control on the Pitt Panther side is just that much better.
Hitting almost 400 in this match, that speaks to that. This is Rice, rejected. Tori Stafford got two hands on it.
Yeah, smart timeout here by Coach Slabay. Just got to reset and refocus. You don't want this to get out of hand.
Pitt off to another strong start, a 7-2 edge here in set number 2. Pitt has been dominant in November. It's continued here early on this afternoon. The NC State faithful have showed out in support of their team. Pitt, though, putting on a show here early on. They lead 7-2 in the second set after taking the opening set. And if you're NC State here, Coach, what adjustments do you need to see from them out of the timeout?
Well, you would say, let's get Rice the ball, but she struggled against the block the last couple of times. I think really the difference so far in set 2 here is the service pressure by Pitt getting NC State out of system. You know, that was an aggressive miss there, but NC State did a much better job in the first set of handling the serve of Pitt, and you don't want that to start to get away from you.
Pitt a couple of service aces to show for so far in this match, but to your point, extremely aggressive behind the service line. Fairbanks turns it over for Babcock. It's coming our way.
Thought you had that, Noah.
I know, the hands weren't as good as they used to be.
Yeah, again, just the pace that Babcock can unload. Unless you're stopped, you make a great read and perfect position. It's just such a difficult play to make defensively.
Hey, I'll attest, my hand's a little bit sore after that ball, and it hits somebody. Such a talented player, and unleashes a big serve. Out for Williams, the former Texas transfer. Now Stafford punched up. Daniels kept it alive. Bryant sent it over and long. And Pitt with a 6-point edge.
Because of the pace that Pitt is serving with and hitting with, it's causing NC State to have to play a little bit faster because the ball speed is such that you have to transition quicker. You have to make reads and react quicker.
Gets up to the setter a little faster.
Correct.
And an ace for Babcock. One of the nation's best serves. And now 60 aces on the season for number 5 in white.
And I had been singing the praises of Sydney Daniels earlier, but I think anyone that is facing this kind of a rocket, you know, it's about defending the serve, not passing the serve. Good ball by Bryant.
Peterson ran it to the middle, and Allen finds some open real estate.
Very heads-up play there by Jada Allen, recognizing that Babcock has such a big serve. Sometimes she might be a little bit late getting to her base and reacting to a tip to the middle. Great recognition there by Allen.
So a run stopper, and now Courtney Bryant back behind the service line. Fairbanks, and a missile out of the back row.
Yep, off of the side of Peterson. She smiles, none the worse for wear, but a little glance off the cheek.
You think Babcock was angry about the last serve? Would not want to be on the receiving end of that. And a mistake by Stafford, the former club teammate of Olivia Babcock.
Yeah, and great recruiting story. If you're unfamiliar, Coach Fisher and his staff were recruiting Tori Stafford, and they went to watch her play. And prior to that, they had no knowledge of Babcock or didn't really know who she was. But once they went out and saw Tori Stafford play, they noticed this great athlete in Babcock on her club team and said, hey, what about this other player? And they wound up getting the package deal. These two players, again, only sophomores, are laying a huge foundation for what Pitt is doing right now and what they'll be in the future.
Coach, that seems like the very definition of a diamond in the rough.
Well, I think every coach in the country would love to have a story like that. But credit Coach Fisher and his staff for getting a hold of him early and locking him in.
Here's Broussard off of 1 foot, kept up by Babcock. Now wide, Vasquez Gomez deposits one.
She has such an interesting swing. It's a little unorthodox. She draws a low elbow, and it's a little bit of a windmill type of swing. You'll see it here. She goes up, watch her elbow draw low and then through. And if you're a blocker, that's not really a swing you're typical of seeing, and it might throw off your timing just a bit.
8-point edge for Pitt here in set 2. Peterson for Williams, kept up. And a free ball. Peterson, Broussard, and a nice play by Meyer. There's Vasquez Gomez, denied but out of play.
Boy, the block was there, dynamic move. They track that set coming over the shoulder of Vasquez Gomez. But Vasquez Gomez with the tool out, going at the outside hand of Madison, heads up play in an out of system scenario.
And an ace for Pitt, and for Vasquez Gomez, oftentimes taking a backseat to some of her teammates, but continuing to prove that she's one of the best players in the country. Timeout on the floor. Valeria Vasquez Gomez putting together another strong season. She has 3 kills so far in the afternoon, and she's hoping to hear her name called in the Pro Volleyball Federation draft coming up on Monday. A lot of Pitt fans certain to tune into that, hoping to see number 2 in white have her name called. She's no doubt going to play professional after what's been a standout collegiate career, and she could be one of the leading forces to helping push this Pitt team to their ultimate goal of a national championship in just over a month. Here's Meyer. Peterson going to look for Broussard, tipped it. Babcock kept it alive, and now sends the free ball across. Peterson ran it to the middle for Cropper.
Wow, what an up by Stafford.
Vasquez Gomez celebrated, but kept in play by Bryant. Broussard punches it off the official and makes sure to check that she's okay.
Yeah, and again, it's a tough cat and mouse game with the backcourt defenders of the Wolfpack, because you want to stay deep. If you get a positive deflection off the block, you want to be able to run that down. But if it's going to clear the block at all, it's going to be hit in front of you, and it's just a tough thing to read when you're seeing both types of shots come your way.
Sophomore Blair Bayless just checked in out of Plano, Texas. Cabello for Broussard. Tough pass there for Fairbanks. They go to Bayless, and she's denied in the net.
Boy, and NC State desperately needed any kind of a momentum swing to come their way. If they're going to claw back into this set, they don't have to play perfect, but they need to take care of those opportunities. And when you get hit out of system, you need to have a good block, something that's formed well and timed well.
That's the good start to the afternoon. Not much to cheer about for NC State as Fairbanks attacks on 2, and everything going Pitt's way this afternoon.
And how about that play by Fairbanks? Not really known as a setter that's super aggressive offensively, but she sneaks one in appropriately just to keep you off balance.
120th career match for a setter that could be a first-team All-American this season. She'll serve. Too strong.
And with the point spread being 10 right now, you're not going to get all back in one swing or one play. So if you're NC State, it's about staying focused, chipping away. Can we get on mini runs? Can we get 2-3 points here and close the gap?
Sydney Daniels to serve. Fairbanks looking outside for Babcock. And I appreciate a good line judge. He got into that call.
Yeah. Sank the center of gravity and got a great view of it and a quick call. Got the whip of the flag, if you will.
Got to show some style points out there, right?
100%.
This crew working hard so far today. Float serve from Vasquez Gomez. Cabello turns it over for Rice. Found the back corner.
Yep. And a great pass off a very tough serve. Allowed Amanda Rice to get that quick tempo set. Cabello on the move, reverses the flow. Look at the tempo there. That's going to create seams and sloppy block hands. Rice will take advantage of that every time.
Stokes serves strong, and we've seen glimpses for this NC State team today, but Coach, we've talked about it a lot. If you are an opposing coach, what's the game plan to try to beat this Pitt team?
Well, it's tough. We mentioned taking care of opportunities when you get them. They're going to be far and few in between. Managing your unforced errors, but staying assertive. Can you slow the game down in between points and stay focused?
You might have to be prayed up as well.
Yeah, that always helps.
Here's Allen. Fairbanks to the opposite, Babcock, who's into double figures this afternoon for the 22nd time this season.
Boy, just the pace is outstanding. Look at the shoulder load, cross court. We talked about the dynamicism, but the way that she's hitting the ball, it's showing up on the local airport radar, I think. It's just such a heavy ball.
Or the seismic meter, maybe.
Yeah.
Kept up by Vasquez Gomez, nice play.
Tight.
Out of system for Stafford, and she deposits it.
Oh my. And that's just one play that kills any kind of momentum for NC State. You look at the score, Pitt starting to pull away, and to have that overpass drop in between you and the net, it's a difficult spot.
Tough day for Lucas LeBay's side. But if there's any consolation, a lot of teams have had tough days against this Pitt side.
Yep.
As Bryant, trying to build some momentum, delivers the kill.
And absolutely love that adjustment by Bryant. Earlier in the match in set one, she was about 7-8 feet off the net, tried to drive the ball down, she got blocked. That time it was a drive shot through the block. When you're that far off the net, you need to have that shot.
Good float from Rice. Hit out of system, overpass, and the setter Cabello. That's her first kill of the match, and NC State finally into double figures here in set two.
It comes off the service pressure of Rice. We know that she's a good server in her own right. Can she get on a, can she extend this mini run right here?
And she can't. An NC State team that was coming into today in search of a big win, Coach. When you look at this Wolfpack side, I think they're on the outside looking in right now, the NCAA tournament, but you had the match today against Pitt. You've got Miami coming up this week and another matchup against SMU. So it's all in front of you. You do have a chance to get in, but you probably need at least one, maybe two wins.
I would agree with you. If you're in the high 40s, you are a true bubble team, and we've seen teams in the high 40s the last few years get the proverbial snub and not get an automatic bid to the tournament. So I think to feel safe, you need to at least be in the upper 40s to 30s to feel good about where you are.
Right now sitting at 46, eerily similar to where they were at last year, although they were 22-7 at this time a season ago. Better strength of schedule this year, but Babcock serves into the net. This NC State team probably on the outside looking in.
Yeah, and you want to get wins, of course, that's always the goal, but it does pad your resume if you have a good result, if it's not a win. And what does that mean? It means if they can extend the match today, if they can go 4 or even 5 sets against Pitt, even if they lose, the committee recognizes that and they say, hey, you just went toe-to-toe with the top team in the country. You're playing at a high level right now. Let's maybe give you the nod.
Great play by Fairbanks to keep the rally alive, and Brizard finds the back line.
And any kind of momentum that NC State can take with them into set 3 is huge right now in a match like this. Love to see the swag there by Brizard, taking care of business.
Bryant serving. In system, Babcock, big swing, long run for Rice, and won't get there as Pitt has a set point here in set number 2.
I'm the Wolfpack. I'm gonna stay away from serving at Vasquez Gomez. She is in the zone right now in serve receive, and the last 4 or 5 balls that have come her way, she has passed nails right to the setter.
Babcock at this point hitting .529 in the match, a couple of service aces, 6 digs, 11 kills. Another big afternoon for the sophomore who's chasing National Player of the Year honors. Brizard, short tip, Stafford there. Klicka out of system, and Vasquez Gomez goes into the block, and Pitt takes set number 2. The Pitt Panthers are...
Pitt to spark that massive run in the middle of set 2. We'll see if they can play a little cleaner here in set 3.
Naomi Cabello to serve for NC State. Fairbanks in system for Kelly. And coach, when you look at this Pitt side, they have such a high floor. Most likely today they're going to hit over 300 again. They've only hit below that 5 times this season. That gives you a chance against any team you're going to face.
That's exactly right, and particularly playing as clean. It's one thing to have a high hitting percentage, but is that also coming with very high kills and high air? We're seeing high kills and low air from Pitt, so that makes it even more impressive.
Sounds like a recipe for success. Brizard gonna have another go, and Fairbanks couldn't handle that one. And a little frustration from Tenon White.
Yeah, I think she was a little surprised that that ball got through the block. The way that it hit her, I think she didn't anticipate that ball to be hit so cleanly at her. Maybe anticipated Babcock to be a little bit more to her right.
Coaching staff telling us that no one in this Pitt gym is more competitive than Rachel Fairbanks. She saw that on display as Kelly sends it over. Rice right into the block, and Stafford with the nice little shoulder shrug.
Yeah, that was a tight set to Rice. You really couldn't do much with it, especially when you're dealing with a dynamic blocker like Stafford.
A confident Pitt team so far this afternoon, and for good reason. Kat Flood back into serve. Daniels spun around. Cabello ran it to the middle, and a kill for Cropper.
And that is a part of a recipe that can bear fruit for NC State. When they have opportunities, can they get the middles more involved? We haven't seen that much this season, particularly even this weekend, but if they can start to get some middle hitter transition swings, that can bode well.
Stafford nearly had the tool. It's going to lead to a free ball. Pitt in system. Stafford touched off the block. Gets it back. Babcock out of system. And kill number 12.
It's just so impressive how she can attack the ball with little to no approach when it's kind of a hop and pop, bang, bang play. You know, that ball was barely out of coverage and shot her way, and she could turn her hips and terminate with that pace. So impressive.
NC State fans excited at that result. The men's soccer team, a 2-0 win over number 4 national seed Georgetown. They'll advance to the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament after what was a thrilling game here in Raleigh on Thursday night to take out Charlotte, the in-state opponent. So Mark Hubbard's team in his first season continuing on in Raleigh. Fairbanks tried to dump on 2. Did that one ever go over the net? They said it did. But a touch, and NC State has the point.
Yeah, great recognition there by Allen, understanding Fairbanks is a front row attacker right now. She is a threat, anything tight to the net.
Babcock, big swing, Stokes sent it back. Now Stafford, another heavy arm, and plants it in front of Stokes.
Boy, if you're Sky Stokes, you make a great play on the first swing, digging the ball up, continuing to rally, and here comes Stafford on the other side.
Four apiece here in the 3rd set. Pitt handled the first 2 with ease. Bryant trying to get going. Vasquez Gomez, tip shot. Rice got underneath it. Bryant again. Klicka. Now for Vasquez Gomez, and this time has the tool.
At that time, she delayed her shot. She hit on the way down, which caused the block timing to be off. And so that's just a savvy play by a veteran player. You jump, you hesitate, and you just see that slight hesitation and hitting on the way down. You usually tool the block in those situations.
Well, they say after 6 years of college volleyball, you learn that sometimes you just got to slow it down and the result will come.
Yeah. And a rare out-of-rotation call against a serving team. You don't see that very often, but when that's called, it usually means that players overlapped illegally at contact of the serve. And sometimes blockers getting to a different base might move early. That's probably what that was.
Bryant delivers the ace. And NC State an early lead. A good response here for Lucas LeBay's side.
Yeah, the one thing you want to show in this type of a match, particularly if you're trying to get into the NCAA tournament, is can we hang with these teams? Yeah, set 2 got away from us, but can we battle here in set 3?
And a service error there for Bryant, because I think, Coach, to your point, if you're an NC State, you get in, you're not going to be a national seed. You're going to be inside one of the regions of these top teams. And so a matchup like this could go a long way to proving, hey, we could be competitive in the NCAA tournament.
That's exactly right.
Mallory Meyer back to serve. Meyer, rather. Cabello goes to the back for Bryant. And she's trying to provide a little spark in this NC State fan base. It's not had much to cheer about. With some cheers after that swing.
Well, and really the first time we've seen NC State feature the pipe or the big set when they're a little bit out of system, and there was a little bit of a seam in that block. Usually Pitt tries to triple block that. Heads up play by Bryant.
NC State trying to throw in some wrinkles here in the third set. Fairbanks, here's Babcock out of the back row. The vertical she gets on those is just incredible.
Yeah, and I think defenders, when you're facing a Babcock, you have to be stopped a split second before you think you need to be. The backcourt defenders for NC State were still moving slightly at contact, and boy, if that happens against her, you are cooked.
The scary thing is you know it's coming, but you still can't stop it.
Yeah.
Cabello, proper on the slide.
Wow. Great up by Klicka.
And Vasquez Gomez has her 6th kill of the afternoon, hitting close to 300.
Boy, and if you're NC State, you got the look that you wanted. You had a quick transition slide, and great setter-hitter connection, good swing, and Klicka's just there with a diving move. Transition score for Pitt. That's one of the areas that makes them so good.
Klicka, one of the best liberos in the country, and now an ace for Rachel Fairbanks.
Boy, and that serve didn't have a lot of pace on it, but it was pinpoint accuracy to the sideline, getting Sky Stokes to move to her right. See if they go at her again. Yep.
They do. Handled better this time to Brizard into the block. And the 6th block of the afternoon for Pitt.
Yeah, I think Brizard needs to change her shot yet again. She had success going high outside hand, but Babcock has made that adjustment, turning that outside hand in. Now she needs to go somewhere else.
Pitt trying to pull away here in the third and wrap up another victory, a 2-0 edge. And we take a break in set number 3.
Marshall's buyers travel far and wide to hustle the
College volleyball fan, I've got a pre-Thanksgiving feast coming up for you. It's on Wednesday, Pitt versus Louisville. The winner of this game most likely going to win the ACC championship. Coach, that could be a game of the year candidate upcoming. Those two teams have played to 5 sets the last times they've played, and it's going to be special. The last time they met earlier this year, it went to 5. Pitt able to pull out the win. Extremely tight across the board, and Bree Kelly had an excellent game with 10 blocks.
Yeah, this is the top against the top, and if you are a volleyball fan, definitely set your calendars for that match. Not only will it probably decide the ACC champion, but it could affect very high seeding in terms of, you know, what region you're in and how that plays out.
Back to action here. Pitt trying to close things out and keep their hopes of a third consecutive ACC championship alive. That was Kelly for the kill, and the lead for Pitt 3.
Boy, so many weapons for Pitt, and so many dynamic weapons. Just when you're got your plate full of Babcock and Stafford, here comes Kelly. You know, and can we talk a minute about the job that Fairbanks is doing as the quarterback? You mentioned she's the most competitive person in their gym, referred to, you know, by Coach Fisher. And if you've got a quarterback that is that kind of a competitor, that kind of fighter and demeanor with the swagger and all those pieces, but she's getting everybody involved. I mean, that starts to permeate to all of your other teammates, all the other players. They adopt that personality, and you're seeing it here.
Fairbanks, the ACC Center of the Year, another player with a chance to hear her name called in Monday's Pro Volleyball Federation draft. She's consistently been one of the best setters in the country and may very well be a first-team All-American again this season. But Coach, you know, it's interesting, and you mentioned this to me off air. We've spent a lot of time talking about the Pitt offense today, but it oftentimes goes forgotten how good the Pitt defense is, and particularly the play in the back of Emily Klicka.
Yeah, you think about, you have the horses.
So we are being told that there is a challenge in the venue. NC State pulling out the challenge card.
I'm not sure exactly what the challenge would be for. We'll work that out here momentarily. But back to your point, Noah, about the defense. When you have such dynamic attackers and players like Babcock, Stafford, Kelly getting all the headlines, it's easy to forget or not really mention the backcourt play. But how many times today has NC State gotten a really good look, a really good swing, and their backcourt defense has just kept the ball alive? I think that's an underrated part of their game.
We're being told that they are taking a look to see if this ball was actually kept up off the NC State foot. It may have been earlier in the rally. Stokes definitely got underneath it, but so then the question might have been, was there an inadvertent whistle right there? And if there was, Coach, then we would see a reserve if the whistle blew, which might be tough to overcome here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we're seeing that tail end of the play. I would be surprised if that is the element they're challenging. Yeah, we'll see when we get the word here from the officiating staff, but you know, the crew had a good look at it. They're obviously determining which way this is going to go, and we'll get more clarity. But this also serves as that pseudo timeout. You know, 11-8, you're still within striking distance. Maybe a few talking points for your team coming out of this challenge. We'll see if NC State can get a little momentum back on their side.
Taking a couple extra looks. Let's let Carla Bunner clarify for us.
After review, the ball is up. However, the whistle did not affect the next play. The play is confirmed, point Pitt.
So the whistle was blown in that situation, but it did not affect the next play. And these NC State fans, let the officials know what they think about that.
Yeah, you know, the argument from Coach Slabay is that if Brizard hesitated at all because she heard a whistle, that could have affected her ability to play that ball before or out of the net. And what the officials are saying is no, even though the whistle sounded prematurely or a little bit early, they didn't feel like she would have been able to make a play on that ball.
And that probably is some of the grayness in that rule. That's where you have to make a judgment call, and they said that Brizard was not going to get that ball back across.
Exactly.
So the call stands. Pitt with a three-point edge. And about the only thing that has been able to slow down the Pitt Panthers today has been this replay review.
That's kind of that second timeout to ice the kicker in football. You know, anything you can do at this point to just slow down the pace that Pitt is used to playing and dictating can favor you for maybe a mini run here.
See, Coach, I'm on the side of let's get rid of that extra timeout to freeze the kicker. We're always trying to speed up college football. I say get rid of it. That's the hill I'm going to die on today.
I'm sure the kicking coaches would agree with you.
You can disagree with me on Twitter if you want. Here's Brizard. Stafford navigated the block. Cabello turns it over. Rice roofed. Stafford and Kelly team up for the 7th block of the afternoon for Pitt.
Yeah, the out-of-system swings from the back row of NC State are starting to get recognized by the block of Pitt. They're adjusting their timing, their eye sequencing. They're watching those plays develop, and they know that Rice is going to be a factor in these rotations. With the score being what it is, Noah, NC State is going to go with their bread and butter. So I think the block is anticipating some of these out-of-system balls to go to Rice.
And you touched on it earlier, NC State's never been able to establish the middle today, allowing that defense to key in on the pins.
Exactly.
Here's Cabello, again Rice, and Stafford couldn't turn that one into the court.
Absolutely love that adjustment by Rice. She's been trying to go line. That time Stafford took the line away. So what do you go back to? You go back to the high wipe shot, outside hand. You've been going seam the last couple of swings. Great adjustment and great swing by Rice.
Now Daniels to serve. NC State trailing by 3 here in set 3. Trying to force a 4th set. Stafford thinking about an early dinner. This is Rice, kept up by Vasquez Gomez. Babcock, haven't heard her name in a while, and she reasserts her dominance.
My. And you know, Noah, I think the only adjustment that you might be able to make at this point in the match, for really both the pins, Babcock and Stafford, I would move my block way inside. I would challenge them to hit more line because they haven't scored much down the line. We haven't seen that shot much from them, but they're having their way going seam cross court.
Cabello, there's Cropper. Now for Stafford, and bounced it just beyond the 10-foot line.
Yeah, and that is an illustration of the defensive Pitt that we mentioned earlier. To be able to dig transition score off a good swing from your opponent tells you that you're playing at a very high level defensively.
Flood back in to serve for Pitt. Stokes, Cabello had to hustle for it, and it'll be a net call.
Back row block, yep. Back row attack. If you're a back row setter and you're trying to set the ball that's tight to the net, if the ball breaks the plane, if it breaks the plane of the net at all and then touches the blocker, that's an illegal back row attack. Boy, and just a really good timeout here by Coach Slabay, because this is what happened in the first set. This is the time where Pitt started to really pull away and assert themselves even more. So if you've got any kind of little tools in your bag, any wrinkles that you want to throw in, if you're NC State, now is the time. I think if you've been tracking this match, what is more fruit for NC State? What has had success? Making Babcock play defense, going at the right back setter, Fairbanks. I think if you can do those two things and you get them out of system, or at the very least, Noah, you take Babcock off the table as being a transition threat, because when she's dug the ball, she hasn't really been that transition threat. That's one wrinkle you can have. But I also agree with what you said earlier. Can we see any kind of middle presence here to maybe get on a mini run for NC State? Because that's something that Pitt hasn't really seen and hasn't really scouted much. So if NC State can get their middles going, I think that might give them back in striking distance here.
Well, and Coach, I hear what you're saying, but the issue for any team going up against Pitt is you've got 3 players on the ABCA Player of the Year watch list. You talked a lot about Babcock. We've seen her on full display today, but you've got to go through Stafford and Fairbanks. And don't sleep on someone like Valeria Vasquez Gomez. There is so much talent that it kind of feels like pick your own poison at times.
It is, and it's going to be a really huge mountain to try to get your arms around if you think of it that way. I think from a player perspective, a coaching perspective, you need to narrow your focus to 1 or 2 aspects, right? I think let's move our block inside against their pins, make them hit line. We haven't really seen that yet. Let's go at Babcock if we can.
I'm a big baseball fan, and this Pitt team, to use a baseball reference, might be a 5-tool team.
Yes.
Daniels on the down ball out for Bryant. Fairbanks in system. Stafford tipped it. Kept alive for the moment. Sent over by Stokes. And Valeria Vasquez Gomez sends it just strong. Right idea.
Yeah, that's a very savvy play. You see a lot of players make on the beach. They see that deep corner open. They're in that free ball platform mentality, and they just want to shovel it over for a quick kill. Just a little bit long.
And you're making me wish I was on the beach right now. It's pretty cold outside as Jones goes off the block.
It's so impressive how Pitt is running their offense. We've talked about the pin hitters, and they get the lion's share of the volume, of course, but we're sprinkling in middle, center dump, just enough to keep your blockers frustrated and off balance.
Now Babcock unleashes the serve and found the line. Wow.
Wow, and if you're Sydney Daniels, what can you do? You think that ball is going long when it's off the hand and it has just enough top spin that it just dies. Boy, what a weapon this serve is for Pitt.
3 more aces today for Babcock, now 62 on the season. Already a program record for 5 and white. That's Lindsay Zitke earlier this year against Miami.
Now you've got Babcock in the back row. This is a great time for the Wolfpack to attack to right back.
And instead a service error from Rice, so you let Pitt off the hook.
Yeah. Rice being one of the better servers for NC State. She knows in this moment she has to stay assertive. It's walking that fine line.
And some reinforcements now coming in for Pitt as Dan Fisher starting to sense that this one might be over.
So take inventory now if you're NC State. Okay, if Pitt's gonna do this, you need to recognize and make a few adjustments. Right now, the only backcourt threat is Babcock. Make her play the ball out of right back. She's less of a threat if she has to dig first. We have a new setter coming in, kind of a blocking sub. So in transition, what do? They just moved Babcock to middle back. So now you want to shift that. You got to recognize these little nuances right now in real time.
Griffin Veerlon into the game for Pitt. Cabello, Allen, and a nice play by Babcock. Jones tried to swing in transition and got ahead of herself.
Yeah, and that is the kind of thing you want to do if you're NC State right now. If they're going to put that blocking sub in, hit the ball at Babcock, make her go to the floor. She's not necessarily going to be an outlet then in transition. It takes a lot of pressure off your defense if you can do that. Now we see Fairbanks coming back in, the blocking sub coming out. It's now or never for NC State. Good ball.
Back for Babcock. And that one found the line.
Boy, and just when it was in live play, I thought it might have gone wide, but boy, when you're such a dynamic hitter, look at that. Oh, it's about 6 inches in, so I need my glasses on. But if you're Amanda Rice, you think about the balls that have been hit in front of you repeatedly, and that one goes wide. Just the range of Babcock is so impressive.
Meyer, good serve. Here's Allen.
Wow. And credit Jada Allen for making the most of a set that was getting a little bit wide on her. She expected that ball to be a little more inside. Just had to reach and throw it for the short tip. And a great time to do it when Klicka, the libero for Pitt, was not on the court.
Allen picking up her 400th career block in Friday's match. She has been a staple in this lineup for many years. And now Allen has the ace.
Yeah, and you wonder if NC State can get on a mini run here, get to within 16, 17. Does Pitt call a timeout? That's the flip side of that coin. When you start making some of those subs, it does affect your chemistry a little bit.
Fairbanks, Kelly off the block for the kill, and Pitt restores order. First to 20 here in the third. NC State came into today hopeful, looking for a statement victory to help their tournament resume, and it does not appear that that's going to happen today. Stokes up to Cabello. There's Rice off the hands of Stafford.
And absolutely love that play call and that design. That is one thing we have not seen yet in this match. A slide from Cropper, taking that left front blocker wide, leaving the seam for a back row attack from Amanda Rice. Really good play call and design there by NC State.
So now Cabello back to serve. Short shirt. Kelly. And Cabello couldn't keep it up.
Playing really smart setting here by Fairbanks. We mentioned her IQ, just the savvy, what she brings to the table, but why not go out riding your middles when the pins have been so hot and dominant this match? Last 2 or 3 swings out of the middle have been easy score kills.
Vasquez Gomez back to serve. This Pitt team, they lost on October 12th at SMU. Since then, now 11 straight wins. It'll be 12 shortly as Kelly and Stafford team up. But Coach, I think the thing that is so incredible right now about this Pitt team, they will have won 24 consecutive sets most likely.
Yeah, that is so impressive. And against tough competition, you know, you can't really control things outside of your league, but look at how strong the ACC is. We've mentioned it time and again. So to have that kind of run against this kind of competition is super impressive.
This is Rice. Long run, Vasquez Gomez kept it alive. Stafford sent it over. And did that one find the line? No.
Oh, wow.
That was almost the cherry on top of an excellent day for Pitt, but instead NC State has the point.
Yeah, and when you've got this kind of a lead, you can go for these kind of low percentage wow plays. And if you miss it, you're still in a comfortable spot, but I'm sure the next time, if she has another opportunity this match, Stafford will keep that ball in.
Fairbanks, here's Stafford off the head of the block. Cabello looking outside for Bryant. Kill of the afternoon for Bryant, and give NC State some credit here for fighting in this third set.
Yeah, this is really about showing what you need to do.
Place has been rocking tonight, 2,963 fans in attendance. It is a season best in terms of attendance in an NC State volleyball game. The Pitt show certainly helped with that, but give a lot of credit to these Wolfpack faithful who came out in support of their team. Babcock, another kill. She's got 16 on the afternoon, and Pitt just a couple of points away from wrapping up win number 27.
Yep, and again, just heavy seam, heavy cross court. I think, why not just commit your block to the cross court, leave line open, just to give them a different look at this point.
Cat Flood back into serve. Stokes up to Cabello. She had to run a long way. Now Bryant, and a nice play by Flood. Stafford. Self-preservation there from Cabello, and Stokes sends it over. Out wide for Stafford again. Daniels underneath it. Some good defense. Stafford keeps coming, and found hands this time, and match point upcoming in Raleigh.
I don't know what's more impressive, the setter-hitter connection on broken plays or the transition movement and activity of the hitters. They are off the net and back, get their hips turned, face the net, and they're coming right now. So anything that is in their wheelhouse, they are just crushing.
Cropper sent it over. Pitt can end it here. Babcock does.
Wow.
Pitt wins their 12th in a row, and the freight train keeps rolling down the track.
Yeah, so impressive, as